Hello friends. In the last lecture we have already started discussing this module number 1 part B enterprise by Nissim Physical. In the last lecture we have already completed two stanzas, stanza number 1 and stanza number 2. Let us continue this poem. In stanza number 1 we will just have a review of stanza number 1 and stanza number 2, and then we will move toward the stanza number 3. So we will read it. Stanza: it started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds and making all the burdens light. The second stage explored but did not taste the call. The sun beat down to match our rage. So this is just the beginning of the uh, journey. All the people are happy. They were excited to undertake a journey. So second stanza, we stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasant sold and bought, the way of serpent and of goats, three cities where a sage had taught. So this is what the second stanza. So in the second stanza, in this stanza, that is the second stanza of the poem Enterprise, the poet has strictly described what they were doing during their journey. He actually indicates to how people get distracted from the main mission. So this is what you can see, as I told you in the last session. This is not just a journey undertaken by few of the people, and what happens during their journey. This is not that much simple, because this is a poem. And as I told you in the last session, poem is always giving you or telling you something more than the words. So when we think about the poem, we should understand the meaning in between the line. So when all is well and all these people were thinking about or observing what they were uh, going through, so this is not just the thing. So when we see, we stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasant sold and bought, the way of serpents and of goats, three cities where a sage had taught. This is not the simple meaning of the words. We should go for the meaning beyond the words, beyond the lines. So this is how we start observing all other things, and we distracted ourselves from the mission. We distracted ourselves from the main objective of the journey. So this is the stanza of Enterprise. The poet is strictly describing what they were doing during their journey. He actually indicates to how people get distracted from the main mission. So these people were distracted from the main mission. They were wasting their time and energy taking notes on the humdrum aspects of life and on curiosities which were centrally not their aim. So this is what you can see. They were making a time pass. They were taking notes. They were doing many other things that were not included in their to do list or in their aim, but they were time passing, uh, uh, to distract themselves from the major mission of the journey. Moreover, their concern was with rather unimportant things. They observed and took note on the cities without concerning themselves with what the sage had taught or what his message was. So they were merely watching all these things. They were not learning many things. So, as I told you, there is an input and intake. What I am speaking with you is an intake, and what you are understanding is your input. And many times when we undertake a journey, we were wandering into the new land instead of understanding, instead of learning, instead of observing, experiencing. We just go on watching the things passively. We were not taking many things in. The input is very low, intake is very high. So as a result of that, you can see they were thinking, they were taking curiosity in many things, but they were not taking all these things in. They watch three cities where the sage speak, or where the sage taught to the people, but they only watch that sage were teaching to the people. They were not thinking about what the sage uh, or sages are teaching to the people. So this is what you can see. Instead of when we watch a painting, instead of interpreting it, we only appreciate it. So what all these people were doing, all these people were doing the same thing. All these people were appreciating what they were watching, but they were not understanding it, they were not perceiving it. So this is what the second stanza is. So the first stanza and second stanza, you can see we were moving towards the futility of the journey. We were moving towards, we were understanding that how journey get distracted, how these people, group of people along with the speaker, get distracted in their journey. Instead of concentrating on their mission, instead of understanding the religious spiritual things in their pilgrimage, what they were doing, they were watching the bazaars. What they were doing, they were watching or taking the notes which are meaningless. They were taking more interest with the things that were nothing to do with their mission of a journey. So this is what the second stanza, and we read it in the last session. So let us read now stanza number 3. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. So this is what you can see. This is stanza number 3 is in fact is a real shift in the narration. Till stanza number 2, you can see all is well. People were happy as they have taken a journey recently. But as they were moving and they were a group of people, they start the differences arises in them, and they start fighting with each other. So there come a stage when differences arose in their opinions. So few think that they should go with the bus, few of them think that they should go walking from or go with a train. So this is what the differences arises in their relationship, in their opinions, and there is a slight clash between them. Some member didn't agree with the others on crossing a patch of desert on the way. As a result, the best prose writer and intellectual person among them parted from the group. So this is the first instance where people start leaving the group. People start leaving the group. So this is the first man, intellectual, who leave the group, who uh, shatter his journey and return to home. So this is what the third stanza. After second stanza, you can see this is the major shift in narration. In third stanza, we came across uh, the differences within the group of people, and they start departing. So this is what the third stanza. So we see that a holy journey for a noble cause no longer holds its integrity. So the holy journey, the pilgrimage that all these people have undertaken loses its integrity. It no longer holds its integrity. The noble cause that they keep in their mind is now no more. So this is what you can see, disintegration of the group of people who have undertaken a journey with a noble cause. So people are becoming egoistic and concentrating on a trivial matters. So this is what happening, and this is not just happening with this group of people. You can understand that in our day-to-day life we also came across such a kind of experiences. We came across with the friends who depart from us because there is a difference between the opinions. So this is what we can see happen. This is a general observation that we can have in our day-to-day life. So their main concern now is the way, not the ultimate aim. So concern now is the way, not the ultimate aim. They were thinking about the road. They were not thinking about the destination. And this also happens with our day-to-day life. What we were thinking about the life. And many times it happens with us that we think about how to be happy instead of just be happy. We generally think how to be happy. आनंदी कसं राहायचं आहे ह्याचा आपण विचार करतो फक्त आनंदी राहण्याऐवजी. So this is what is happening. Instead of concentrating on the ultimate aim, what we were doing, we were concentrating on the way. So this is what the same thing happens when we are discussing with you about the English language. What we generally do, we generally think about how to speak. We learn how to speak instead of speaking English language. We concentrate on how to speak. So there is a difference between knowledge and skills. So similar thing is happening. Instead of mean, we were concentrating upon a medium. So medium becomes more important than the goal. So this is what is happening in this group. So the main concern now is the way, not the ultimate aim. Even the seemingly intellectual did not bother to reconcile the differences and hold the members together. So even the intellectual people, the leaders, they also start they also start becoming a part of a disintegration. They were not reconciling the group. They were not moving the group towards the major aim or the major mission that they have kept in mind when they have started their journey. So this is what the disintegration of the group. Ironically, he sought the easier way to part from the group. So this also happens. So many intellectual people say when they start feeling that group has lost their integrity, they start departing. In the third stanza, you can see that people were departing from the group. They were moving back to their home. They were shattering their journey. Few of them were still hold the journey. They were moving ahead in their on their path. Now the stanza 4. See, we will read it. Was a quite the best of all our batch, a shadow falls on us and grows. So this is a continuation of a third stanza. See, but when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose we quit. The best of all our batch was a quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. See, as I have colored the lines and their interpretations. A shadow falls on us and grows. What is the meaning of it? See, after one friend left the group, a shadow of a friction and conflict befalls the enterprise and continues to grow. So, as one friend departs from the group, moves, shatters his journey and moves back, the instead of decreasing the fraction, decreasing the conflict, it started growing. So they now lacked the zeal with which they started. So they have already lost the zeal that they have started. When they have started their journey, they have kept a very noble goal in their mind, but this goal is now shattered and they were only concentrating on their egoistic fight. So this is what the line is. Shadow falls on us and grows. Shadow is an image. Shadow stands for a conflict between the group. Shadow stands for a negative thing. So this shadow falls on us and grows. So this negative, the conflict, the egoistic opinions start growing in the group and group started disintegration. So another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. So see, in the next phase of journey, some local or external forces attacked them on the way. Maybe there maybe a different kind of things they were facing. As a result, they lost their way, and as a result of that, they lost their way. So it seems that in the quest to save themselves, they didn't even bother that they were losing the way. So this is what you can see. is the disintegration of their noble goal that they have kept in their mind when they have started their journey. So see, a section claimed its liberty to leave the group, and as a result of that, what happened? A section of group wanted to free themselves and create a new group. So there is a disintegration. The group is divided into two parts now. Possibly they were unhappy with the leadership because they were unhappy with the. This happens generally in our day-to-day life. The people depart from each other. They create their own group as they were not happy with the leader. So the disagreement, disintegration continues. Then I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. So in this situation, the narrator had nothing to do but pray. He prayed that God might solve the issue. The group leader was helpless and tried to assure others by saying that they were near the sea and so the destination was at hand. So this is what you can see is the situation. Situation has already gone off hand, and we were thinking. So the author is thinking that the only thing that they can do is to pray. They can do anything else rather than praying for to the God to solve the issues. So the group leader was also helpless. He can't make their group integrated or move toward their path. uh, he also faces he also observes helplessness and tries to assure other, as he is saying that I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. It means he is assuring his group that we were near the destination. So this is also a trick to integrate the group and move towards the aim. So that is played by a leader. Then these are also symbolic. We human beings often face the opposition of a fellow man on our way of life. Sometimes we lose our way by the hostility or misguidance of others. Moreover, when we find ourselves in trouble, we forget the larger perspective and run away to save our narrow interests. So, this is what generally happens in our life. As I told you, we should not forget that this poem is not a simple poem. This poem is not a simple description of group of people undertaking a journey and moving towards a pre-decided destination. This is in fact a human life that also faces many unwanted, unrecognized, and unexpected hurdles in the way. And such a kind, all these things symbolically, allegorically depict the journey of a mankind, life of a mankind. So these are also symbolic. We human beings often face the opposition of a fellow man on our way of life. So as I told you, we should always think about the analogy between the life and the journey that is depicted by the decimosical in enterprise. So this is what is a general situation. We also face such a kind of opposition by a fellow man, by a friend, by a family members on our way of life. Sometimes we lose our way by the hostility or misguidance of others. This may happen with us. Moreover, when we find ourselves in trouble, we forget the larger perspective and run away to save our narrow interest. This many times it happens with us. We start understanding or we start considering the narrow interest instead of thinking broad, instead of thinking about the major aim of the life. So this is what the fourth stanza was. So a shadow falls on us and grows. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. So this is the fourth stanza. Two more stanzas we have to learn, stanza number 5 and stanza number 6. We will read these two stanzas in the next session. We will stop here and continue the same in the next session. Thank you for listening.